Hi, Joshua coming to you. It's Thursday, December the 15th. Don't mind the music in the background. Anyway, what I'm bringing to you today is this greenhouse model made out of the relocation platforms. I'm just trying to get a visual on this so we can see the internal components. Each one of these panels here, they're 48 square feet, 8 feet from point to point, and about 7 feet across. So on your base you have 7 of those surrounding, or 6 surrounding the center, which works out to about 432. So if you take 48 times 9, that takes into account the corners here. That works out to 432 square feet. And just had enough pieces from my last model from Mission Fest there to put this together. And so I have it raised off the ground around 3 or 4 feet or so to scale. And so that's, you could have your heat ducts, your cold air return coming from out of here, going back up the curtain. That's the curtain wall here. It's called the buffer system. So basically you have a outer envelope of plastic, then you have an inner envelope of plastic, then in here you have a series of vents where your cold air comes from the center of the stairwell. It comes up, and you would have like a hot water radiator system here that would help to charge the in between the buffer system or the double envelope system. So the air would rise up and condense back to the center. In the summertime, the sun would do most of its work, so you wouldn't need heating. But the sun, shining on the outside would cause your heat to rise up and go back down, and which actually causes, doesn't matter whether it's winter or summer, keep a stable 72 degrees. Even if you had 5 feet of snow out, the hot water heating along the outside perimeter is just, it helps to beef it up somewhat. And the top portion, I made the tops here 6 feet, and so you would have like a 6-foot wall, and so this would be something like a gazebo type of roof. And this just to show you, what it's going to look like the outer shape of it. You wouldn't have these dividers in. You would have your shape, and it would be all 2x4'd off or whatever. And you might have 2x4 slats going on the outside to kind of bump out your plastic in order to form your gap. But anyway, that's taking the relocation platform technology and putting it together into something that's doable. And for the heat source, you would have your, I'll bring this up here. This is just a rendering of the star stove, and your air and your propane would come up to the bottom and come out between these 2 plates, so you could actually use the flame that's coming out between the plates to heat up your water plenum. That would go to a radiator that would be around this area, then into your air plenum. So it does have potential here, and it wouldn't be all that hard to build this. I've got one more thing to show you. Okay, this is an LED light. You would have LED lights on 6 sides. I'm just going to take this down. So if you're going to make a vertical garden, you could actually have if you're using your lights, you could actually have a curtain 3 feet out from center. That would give you a walkable room. and your lights would reflect off the back side of the curtain. There's various ways that you could do this. You could go hydroponics, you could go to tubes going around it. There's different ways that you could do it. And so in the winter months when there's not too much sun, you actually have your lights. And if you wanted to, you could probably go to growing plants, having your lights on 24 hours of a day to speed up the growing of your plants. So instead of just 3 seasons during a year, you might be able to get 20. And just like if you're up north in Alaska during the summertime, the plants are growing there 24 hours of the day, so you could do something similar. I don't know if there's any more to show you here. This is just an intro of merging the platforms and the joepipe technology together to make something that would be practical and easy enough for most people to replicate. I want to go back to the star stove here. That's the star stove here for the star stove kitchen. I think I'm going to come over here. A little more light. I was talking to my friend here in town who's a businessman, and he was telling me about the tailing ponds up in Fort Mac, where they have that like an oil slick on top. And I could actually take these stoves, and these plates are going to get hot. They're going to get red hot with just using a 20-pound bottle of propane. And if you used if you made like a crucible on top, this would be different than the joepipe system. But if you formed a ring around here, another ring in the center, and use the center for putting your air in through the top, that would go in between the plates. You would have a series of holes inside your air plenum. And if you used your second ring, you could have your say 6 injectors that would inject raw fuel or whatever mix that you have, whatever waste, into the plenum where it would be volatilized, and there would be holes drilled where it would port right into the stove itself. So you could really beef it up to form a circular heating system that would be very hot. Your propane would be your pilot, and when you want to crank up your heat, you just start injecting your fuel, and that would go right into your flame. And as I was saying in a couple of videos before this, the heating of the iron combines with the moisture produced by the propane to produce hydrogen. Your oxygen out of your steam is reforming with the iron to produce rust, and that frees up the hydrogen. Then you get where your hydrogen combines with your CO2 to convert it into carbon monoxide and water. You might also get a methane shift. So that's the only scientific way that I know that explains the super efficiencies of the joepipe. With a little bit of propane, you can actually heat up these 2 8-inch, 18 or 16-inch plates. I haven't tried the 18 or 16-inch yet. I have tried the 12-inch plates, and I still get 4 or 5 inches of flame coming out all the way around, like a band of flame. And this here would actually produce a 48-inch band of flame. It's probably going to be at least a couple inches or so. And if you add the raw fuel to the equation, you might get a flame coming out maybe 6-8 inches, in very, very, very high intense heat, maybe around 2200. I'm just guessing, but I would speculate it'd be that much. But if you take the next step, you could actually turn this into a furnace just by putting like an outer plumbing around it. And if you capped all this off and keep all the heat inside, all the emissions inside, You could actually create